Hi there, it's Wee Claire here. This is Game On Expo, and I'm with Britt Baron. Hello, Britt.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Thank you so much. One question before we start. Are you excited about Game On Expo in March 2026?
I am so excited. Game On Expo was the second convention I'd ever been to in, I guess, 2024. And it like blew me away. I was so impressed. I had one of the best times I've ever had at a convention. So I'm just so excited to be back. Last time I was just with Susie. This time it's like the whole cast. So I'm over the moon. I'm so excited.
What do you think's going to be different about the whole cast or like more cast being there? Because this is the biggest Final Fantasy reunion I think a convention has got together with Tyler and Cody obviously in tow. So how do you feel about that?
I am so excited because we record, individually. So the only time we really get to spend together is oftentimes at these conventions or just like small press things. So I personally am just really, really excited for the fans because everyone asks me, when can I meet Cody? When can I meet Tyler? I'm like, I don't know. I guess the answer is now Game On Expo. But I'm just like thrilled that we all get to spend time together, which is it's just a treat for us.
I'm excited. I think I'll be hosting your panel, so that will be chaotic, I'm sure. I'm excited.
I'm scared. I feel like people are gonna really show up. This is such a special event.
It's going to
So
be,
pressure's on.
yeah, it's going to be awesome. Oh gosh, no pressure. Oh my God. We'll have fun. But you know what? We're just going
Yeah.
to have fun on stage. It'll be awesome. Now, as you know, you've done many conventions, many panels. And one of the overriding questions I always hear from the fans is, how do I become a voice actor? And so let's start there. It's more than just the voice, but how would you interpret that in terms of embodying everything that it takes to make you have actually a good career and be a good creative person?
Oh gosh. Well, it's hard. It's hard for me to feel like I'm to give advice because I feel like I still don't really have the answers and I'm still just faking it till I make it and doing my best. So I don't know if I have it all figured out. It still feels like throwing spaghetti at the wall and seeing what sticks. I think I was trained, I went to college. I got a BFA in performance. I think some of those just like basic acting skills are what is important regardless of if it's on stage or on camera or in a recording booth. It's just the basic like being truthful, believing the circumstances, making choices. I mean, obviously there's specific stuff for voiceovers that I think helps, especially being good at cold reading and making choices on the fly because for video games, for instance, I usually don't get a script ahead of time. I mean, really rarely in a project. And if you do, it's usually even just your lines. It's not even what you're um the context of the scene you usually don't know. So you're really making choices on the fly. So I think getting confident as an actor to not be embarrassed in front of the director and writer and client, being able to make those big choices on the fly is also really helpful. But I don't really know, to be honest. I don't have the magic answers.
It's difficult, right? I get asked that a lot about hosting or being on stage, and immediately my brain goes to the whole timeline of how I got there. And there's so many bumps. It's not just training or experience. I think a lot of my mindset as someone who does this side of the job has come from life,
Mm.
and I don't think I'd be able to cope with commanding a stage. Sometimes the largest was 5,000 people, and don't think I'd be able to do that without having life experience. Is there anything that's informed you in life, your experiences so far with people or on your own, that has brought something to your performances or as an actor?
I mean, I think just living as a human being every day in the world is what informs you as an actor in general. I think watching, observing, interacting with other people, especially ones that are different than how you move through the world, is what definitely helps inform you, um, and helps you empathize. Because I think as an actor, that's really what you're doing. You're putting yourself in the shoes of the character. I think sometimes it's easier than others. I did a show at Steppenwolf like a few years out of college, and I was kind of, I guess, the audience felt the villain of the play. I never saw it as that until we were running and people were coming up to me after the play being like, I hate your character was evil. But as an actor, I was like, oh, I thought in my head, I was the ingenue. Like, I really, you have to believe, you have to, really buy into your character's perception of the world. And so I think just general life experience, talking to other people and trying to understand where they're coming from, it helps inform me as an actor. So I don't know if it's like, oh, this one specific event in my life, more just like, yeah, the older I get, the more experiences you have, the honestly, the better actor I feel like I am.
Yeah, I feel like that too. I think there is a myth that has been dissolving for years, thankfully, that you must start young. You must be young,
Mhm.
and actually, the most interesting people I've talked to have been older and they've had experiences on sets and outside in life, and I've got great respect for them. I actually prefer interviewing older people, no, and nothing against the younger folks at all, but there is something about the experience of life that informs you generally. I mean, like in terms of conventions, you meet a 10 ton of people, all from different walks of life. How has that made you look at humanity, I guess, and humans differently? Because there's a lot of very different people at conventions coming together in this happy little space. It's interesting to see.
I think it really, I mean, it brings me a ton of joy because we didn't have the opportunity to do that when the first game came out because it was the middle of COVID. So getting the opportunity to face have interactions and conversations with people and hearing what the game meant to them growing up or how they were introduced to it or how important everyone's individual story has been so moving. And you're right, I've gotten to, I mean, I was in London this past year. I was I my one of my first conventions was in Scotland. I mean, I've been so fortunate to get to meet people from all over, and people traveling and all different ages and genders and walks of life is very, it just, it feels like I'm a gift as not just an actor, but as a human being to get to do that. It's also like very connecting because I feel like otherwise you just see comments on Twitter and that's very not, it's like very disconnected,
Yeah, I know what you
and like
mean.
cold. Yeah.
I know what you mean. Like I mean, I think social media is a great tool because it can be a connector in a way, in a different way, completely different. When we meet communities face to face, it's so much, for me, more fulfilling, better. I don't know, like social media now. Like I get asked this a lot because I teach social media marketing for performers and branding, and um, I try and teach it ethically, and I try and teach people to use it ethically. How do you use social media? I guess in those in between times, I've never really asked a working actor this before because I just sort of teach it. Do you have a way that you use it that's ethical or right for you? Because people ask me this all the time when they're starting off.
So, I mean, I am not what I feel like is what is suggested. I think I should be posting way more. I should be engaging with an audience. I should be trying to build a brand. Like all of that, I basically don't do. At this point, I'm just a lurker on social media. I'm just scrolling away quietly in my corner. Um, I think that I have some fear of the internet. I think people say things online that they would never say to your face. And things that have helped me as an actor, like being open and sensitive, can really crush you with social media when you see just like you could have 1,000 nice things said and then one mean comment, and that will like stick with you. So, I've been a little guarded with sharing things publicly, especially because it is very vulnerable. It's like super scary. As an actor, I'm like, okay, I'm playing a character, but sharing who I really am in my real life is a little scarier to me. So I definitely, it's actually a goal for me. And I think it can be very helpful for actors. I also see the argument that, like, if you don't know the actor as well, you can let them hide behind the character and really just be watching that character versus I even feel like sometimes when I feel like I know a celebrity really well and then you see them in another movie, you're like, well, I feel like I'm just watching this actor, I'm not really watching this character. So that's an argument I tell myself to feel better about not posting enough. But for my own mental health, I have downloaded the app. What's it called? Opal, I believe.
Okay.
Yes, Opal. I use the free version, but it blocks my social media um, for however many hours I want a day. And it makes you wait to unlock it. And it has just helped me try. That's like one of my goals for 2026 is to just some less mindless scrolling. Um, I think it's like it can really mess up our mental. I feel like I'm like scrolling away my life at times.
I
It's just so
know.
addicting.
I know what you mean. I've got a guitar sitting next door, and I'm thinking I should probably play guitar more. Like I should probably exercise my demons elsewhere as opposed to collecting more from the
I
anxieties
know.
online.
Or I should read a book. I'm like, Jesus, or even just watch something. I'm like, I would rather spend an evening watching TV or a movie rather than I spend an hour and a half scrolling TikTok. I mean, that's,
Oh my god, I
yeah.
know. And I find that difficult. I ask you because I'm interested because you do have a following, and I guess not a responsibility if you don't want it, but there is a responsibility then when you start to connect to a community that they love a character you've played. It's an interesting thing. I think using social media as a tool is very important as an actor or a performer. But where do you draw the line? Because yes, you get to be vulnerable through characters, but it's so different when you're vulnerable as yourself. Do you struggle? So, from hearing what you're saying, do you struggle with that vulnerability then as Britt Baron generally, or is it just on social media where you're like, no?
I think not as much with my friends and family in real life, probably. Sometimes I feel like I'm an oversharer, but I think publicly and professionally, it's a little harder for me. I think I was also like raised with like be a good girl, be polite, be kind, be a good worker. So sometimes it's hard for me to almost take off that professional hat and um let your guard down in a way because you
Mm-hmm.
just want to be like, I want to be like an A+ student.
Yeah, I
And
was the
I don't
same.
think that's not what is appealing on social media, especially. You want to like really get to know somebody and it not be this like curated version of a person. So I do definitely struggle with that because it's also this like ambiguous thing. You're not really talking to one person, you're talking to a crowd of people that you don't even know, which is, I think, a little just harder than obviously like a one-on-one conversation at a get together with somebody I know.
Absolutely. I've always been the stand in the kitchen at parties until somebody comes to me. then I, and then I'll start serving people drinks that aren't my drinks in the fridge that I don't own. I'm like, oh, would you like a drink? Like, but then that's a mask, right? Like I think that's a mask because I'm scared. I don't know. I find it generally. I'm fine on stage because there's a job to do. I'm like, this is a stage. Um, but I don't like being picked out in comedy shows. Even though I do stand up, I'm like, don't look at me. like, and
Me too.
it's scary. Like, I'm like, I want to be completely invisible. like
I think
otherwise.
public speaking can be really intimidating because you're yourself as a character. Like, I have no problem doing a vulnerable scene as a character. I'm playing, that's the character, that's not me. But it's definitely harder,
Oh,
I think, when you don't
100%.
have that character to hide behind.
100%. You mentioned being an A+ student. I was the same. I was told be a good girl. Get good grades, do well, get a good job, that kind of thing. Not sure about the job thing. Sorry, mum and dad's, like, it's a bit weird, but like the rest, I very much empathize with. But I've tried through the years to go easier on myself. Did you find that, are you still trying for that A plus when you're doing roles, when you're looking at characters, or do you let that guard down in terms of perfection, I guess?
Oh, well, I don't think it's gone away in terms of wanting to do a good job. That has not gone away. And I don't really want that part to go away. I definitely value hard work within myself, and I respect hard work from the people in my life. I think caring about what you do is cool. I think like the yeah, I'm like pro being engaged and caring, but uh I think that obviously comes with, to a certain extent. Definitely as an actor, you don't want to be like a crazy perfectionist. I just mean like you do the work and then you leave it at home when you get to the job. That's kind of my philosophy. That's like what I think helped with acting school, especially, or even just mostly working professionally. Like you do the work in the rehearsal room, but then when it's time to put it on its feet, you let it all go and just trust that the training and the prep is there. Which is hard with video games because you don't really get a ton of prep.
Although generally, I'll say this to give some context. I have done a 10 ton of acting classes, not because I want to be an actor, but because I interview actors. So for me, it's very handy to understand Meisner technique or all of these things
Mhm.
and the language that actors use. And it's really helped me actually, and myself. But when I was in acting classes, there would be times where, oh, things would come up, you know, and things that you did not know were just underneath this very thin veil of the surface. And you shouldn't use it like therapy. Like, that's not recommended, but it felt therapeutic and sometimes confronting. Have you felt like that with any of your roles or any jobs where it's hard to leave that in the studio on the stage where you've tried to leave it, but it's been difficult?
I think there have definitely been uh instances, yes, that are harder. Sometimes it's just a matter of how much are you on set or how much are you like I think I did a movie like Into the Dark where I was number one on the call sheet there every day, 12 hours a day, eating, breathing, sleeping the role. So in that sense it's hard to leave at work because you're really just like living in that world and then you come home and sleep and turn around and go back to set. So that's definitely difficult, but I do think as an actor I have like a really probably unhealthy ability to just compartmentalize. I think especially with auditioning, like I really don't know how actors survive if you're not able to do that because it's a really heartbreaking career. You're told no a ton. And I think, especially pre-COVID, when we were going in the room for auditions, it's a skill. It's really like, I feel like a muscle. I just got good at walking in, doing my job, walking out, and like, for the most part, trying to forget about it and move on with my life. So I'm very good at like that. I think even with Final Fantasy, like I had an in-person audition and then didn't hear for months, but I didn't think about it. I just had like totally moved on with my life until I got the call, you know?
I know.
So it's probably an unhealthy ability to just put things in boxes and not deal with the feelings.
I can be quite similar. Disassociation
Yeah.
or compartmentalization, which, in therapy they tell you isn't really great, but actually for this job is very good, And I think I barely auditioned for my side of this work, but I did an audition in December. It was in studio, very rare, and I got to actually feel like I was doing my job in a studio, and I loved it. And I thought to myself, I'm just going to enjoy myself because it's fun doing my job. And I
Yeah.
think if you can frame it like that, that takes you through a lot of stress just having fun with it, right? I think we all why do we forget the fun part?
It's so hard. The pressure's, I feel like so high and everyone wants it's easier said than done, I guess, too. I think it's also easier if you don't get close to something. I've had a harder time when it's like the fifth callback and I'm studio testing and you have to sign a contract before you even do the audition. Like that's harder to emotionally let go of. But yeah, I don't know. It's not an easy or healthy, arguably, skill. I don't know.
It's difficult to just let go and have fun. Sometimes I think growing up, when you're saying the grade A, student, that kind of thing, there was times growing up where I thought I just want to press the F it switch. And have you ever felt like that where you're like, I just want to just F it, just go for it? Have you ever felt like that?
I think a lot of times, yeah, especially if you're feeling stuck in a scene, definitely. I think also though that's what I genuinely love about doing voiceover work because for the most part when you're recording we're A, B, and C'ing every line. So you give one line three different ways right off the get-go, which forces you to let it go because you don't want to say the same line. You don't want to say the same line the same way three different times. You want to give them variety. So as an actor, it forces you to like let go of your maybe initial idea of how this should sound or be performed and try it other ways, which is a really great exercise, I think, as an actor.
Well, we're always learning. I think, in terms of being a creative person, it's good to always learn and invest in yourself, classes, whatever it may be. What do you do now to continue learning and keeping excited as an actor?
Ooh, that's hard. I mean, definitely stay in class. I also like rotate what kind of class I'm in. So I'm going back to improv right now, which is very different than like a theatrical class, very different than a commercial class or a voiceover class. So I think rotating teachers, because I also think um, everyone has their own opinion, and I don't know if anyone's exactly right. So I think it's good to get different ideas and inspiration and perceptions, but it's definitely hard. I mean, I think that's why any industry, you really want to love it because you can easily get, I think, jaded. And I think what's important as an actor, at least for me, is to also like have my own life. It's very easy to feel like you're just like waiting to take off. You're just in a holding pattern. Like once I get this job, then my life can start. Then I can move. Then I can get married. Then I can, do X, Y, and Z. Then I'll be happy. And you just, you watch your life like fall away. So I think for me to stay motivated, it's helpful to find agency within my own life outside of just like waiting for the next gig, um,
Yeah, I
to
agree.
keep me happy, yeah, and motivated.
I completely agree. I think that's where a lot of people, in terms of acting or even hosting or comedy, that's where a lot of people fall off, and it's this continued passion you have for a craft, but also, I don't know, a foundation. And you really need your own life and your own projects and things, Like I get, you're totally right. Don't wait for the job to come find you. It's
Yeah.
so true. And improv, oh my God, I've been trying to do improv for the last couple of years through classes, and it's so hard. Oh my gosh, it depends on how you're feeling during the day. I don't know how you find it, but the act of just playing as an adult, you're taught not to play, right? So to go and play and really let your imagination go, but also be generous with scene partners. But when your scene partner's not really good, and then you're kind of like, they're not giving you the gifts you maybe need to receive. Oh my God, there's so much to juggle. Do you have a natural aptitude for it, or are you finding it quite difficult?
I really enjoy it, and it really scares me, which I think is always a good sign. Um, when I am scared to do something, I think that's like the best thing. And I kind of love it though. I feel like it's a real adrenaline rush. Um, you know, to like not know how it's going to go or not be able to, again, like as the planner, the like prepared student, it's very good for me to be like, you have no script, you have no idea, like you have nothing, you can't prepare, you can't try and ace this test. You just have to go up there and wing it, which is a really good thing for me.
Oh, I'm exactly the same. I did a show the other night. It was music, but this music isn't hasn't got structure. It's quite experimental. But I was trying to go up before and plan. My two bandmates, they are very experimental, and they were like, just shake a thing, dance, whatever. And it was so lovely to. I'd just come off a convention where everything was so controlled and polished, and I had to please 10 million people, from the event to the audience to the actors, and to just stand on stage and just wiggle and make noises. I think everybody needs to do that once in a while. It's
Just
so
wiggle a little bit.
just wiggle. I really liked wiggling. Britt, thank you so much for chatting to us at Game On Expo. We are so excited to have you, and we can get into all of this conversation more at our panel. But is there anything you would like to say to the people who are coming?
I am just genuinely so excited. I haven't been this excited for a convention in so long. I think this is going to be a really special experience for the fans and for me, honestly. We never all get to all be together. So I'm really looking forward to this, and I think Game On Expo puts on a particularly incredibly well run show. So I'm so excited for the fans. I think this is a really exciting opportunity, and it's coming up soon. I can't believe it.
I'm so excited. Britt, we will put all of your links in the description below so people can follow you, and you can just keep lurking on social media. That's totally fine.
I'll start posting more. That's a goal, okay?
Britt, thank you so much. And we'll see you very soon. Take care.
Thank you
Bye.
so much for having me. Thank you.